cup, you know? Or really you should be drinking on a cup and feeding a bottle to your baby. And I feel like that's what we have in the church. Just a bunch of people are still saying, feed me, feed me, feed me. Man, so I ask you, are you discipling? Because, man, once you get someone to the point where they can lead others, man, then the sky's the limit. I mean, when I see my youth pastor now, you know, we still hang out, and he's like, man, I'm so proud of you, man. I had no clue. I had no clue God was going to use you. I just got you to that level. And I feel like in the church what we've done is we get people to this level. Well, that's good. You led them to the Lord. You taught them some things. But, man, you didn't get to the point where they could reproduce. You're gonna see, if your people were left in your city, this is the way I describe it. Go, look, if you were the only Christian in your city, would you be able to keep growing in your walk with the Lord with no help? And if so, could you lead other people to Jesus? Could you tell them the story of God and disciple them? See, that's got to be the goal. If you can't do that, then let me equip you to do that. And so I just want to close with that and say, man, are you making disciples? That's what the church needs. And don't underestimate what a high school student could do. See, I feel bad because I strayed from the example of my youth pastor. My youth pastor was an awesome guy and believed deeply in the Scriptures, taught me to study the Scriptures, taught me to share my faith. And then somehow I got caught up in this system for a while there. And I neglected the work of making disciples, and I just started preaching, and then I'm leading people to the Lord, and then my staff is discipling the people, and they're teaching their kids, teaching the youth, doing everything from, we'll teach the women's Bible studies for you. Feed, 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 feed. And so we got a bunch of 30-year-olds still living at home saying, you're not giving me enough. And that's been a failure on the church's part. It's time to turn that around, and I think it starts with youth ministry. That we start with some of these young people, and by the time they're in college, they're ready to disciple. They're ready to lead other people. I got so weird. and so into the system where I didn't even know how to share my faith one-on-one anymore. Pretty soon I started telling my neighbors, come to my church and hear me preach. You know what I'm talking about? It's like we became this system where this is how you become a Christian. You show up to a service, the pastor will preach, you'll raise your hand, go forward, get baptized, whatever, rather than just being a human being and looking someone else in the eye and go, hey, let me tell you about my God and what he's been doing in my life. And can we raise up a generation of disciple makers again who have this faith that we're talking about, and then we send them off on this adventure where they're expecting God to make disciples through them. And I just think it's time to put ministry back into the hands of the common people. It's the only way it's going to work. But I sure hope you guys are encouraged today. I hope you get encouraged during this conference, because I think this is the future right here, is you guys making disciples, you guys living a life of faith, of serious belief and expectation in prayer, and passing that on to your kids, and expecting them to make the disciples. And once we start doing that, man, there's huge, huge hope for the Church of Jesus Christ again. Let me pray for us. Father, I just feel like I spit out so much in the last few minutes. But I want my brothers and sisters in this room to believe. I want them to see huge things. I want them to see your miracles. I want them to expect that. I want them to expect their students to make disciples. God, I don't even know what to pray for them. I just don't want them to get discouraged. I want them to live by faith.